All right, folks. I know it's been a while. I haven't put anything on this channel, but there hasn't really been anything interesting. The only thing I've been working on is that International, and it's just a heater box, which I've done before. But anyways, this one's gonna be a little different. A little while ago, quite a while ago, I think, I actually built this thing, and that's gonna be our little project on this channel for a little bit here. A lot of people had a lot of interest in it. I didn't go into crazy detail how I did this. Now, there's going to be some spots in this build that I'm going to probably recommend another channel called Way of the Wrench. He just goes into way better detail how to, when it comes to the computer side and things like that, because I'll try to, if I find it, I'm going to recommend it, or I'm going to link it in my video. I'll do it in the comment whenever it gets to those stages. I kind of been fumbling around, figuring everything out, and as it is, I am super happy with this. So what this is it's a virtual pinball machine, and it all sparked up when I had a little mini table. I bought a little mini one, I don't know, like that one way over there, and then I got a real machine, and then that just intrigued me into this digital stuff. So what it is you get a pinball table that you can have like multiple tables, like the real, some of them are like the real deals. This is not quite where we should be, but you have like lots of choices. I think on here, probably not so much in here. So what you'll end up having is a pinball table that gives you the feel and vibes of a real pinball machine, and you can get all of, you know, the old greats anywhere from the 50s all the way into the more modern tables that are out there. And then there's a lot that people like, there's like this whole little pinball community that have made some, but I mean, you have your traditional Whitewater, Whirlwind, you know, all of these, and then you got stuff from the 70s. Anyways, the idea with it is it's just virtual, but inside the machine I have car solenoids, I have like bells and chimes, and it just gives you the real vibes of a real machine. So it's pretty awesome. And this thing lets you
please wait.
Choose
I am now loading up the
many
game.
of them in all
Have
different
fun.
kinds. So I'm going to try to give you a little example, but the idea of the machine is you have, I'll go through the list of parts, and then I'll show you what it is here. So what I went to Cleveland Software. There was another company I used when I built this one, but they since then have stopped. They're not making stuff anymore. And these guys, Cleveland Software, like I'll do the little linky, I'll do it in the description stuff. You can buy a complete package. It just depends what a feller wants to spend. I wanted to go full Monty, so this is like their kit now, which will come like with it's gonna feel like a normal plunger. And you know, it comes with the buttons and lights and all that kind of stuff. So I got it with it's called 10 solenoids. So you'll have like a bunch in the back. You'll have your flipper and your bumpers up in the front. So when when a ball comes down, you'll actually have a mechanical sound on top of the other sound. So I got it as a package. I'm gonna have a shaker motor. We got a knocker. It's got the lights. I'm not sure if I like this whole setup. I'm gonna see how I go. I might change this up yet, but this is what I'm shooting with. I didn't quite get their light package. It has the card for it. I was going to do all my own things for addressable lights. So this particular table doesn't do any of this stuff. The only ones it's got has lights just up here. And the other one I was going to do is I'll have like a little LED, like a little light up screen here. And I'll probably take like those lights that I have, and I'll just probably put them on top of the machine kind of thing. I'll probably also be adding some LEDs to the side. There's just a lot of things you can do with this. For me, I made everything on here, like the legs and yeah, you name it, I made everything. This time around, I actually bought the real pinball parts, the real sides, you know, the real runners for the glass when you take off. This is like a homemade thing that I made, but this time around, I actually bought a proper lockdown bar, they call it. So the one I'm going with is, I believe they call it a wide body. So this is like a standard body, I think. This is a wide body, so this is like 25 and a bit inches wider. Reason for that is this one has a 42-inch TV in here, and then this is I don't even know what that is, a 19-inch, something like that, and then 19 or 20, and then I have this little LCD screen that I got, which is in there, and then we got a set of speakers. This round I'm going to go with, it'll be a 48 inch. And I think the reason for it is I'll just get a better perspective of the screen, what's going on in there. So anyways, there's like multiple ways. That's like kind of the expensive way to do it. You buy everything. Realistically, you can just do it with a good sound card. So what I got, I don't have a PC with this yet. I'm going to be getting another computer and probably like a surround sound. From there, you'll have like 3 sets of channels. One of these is just going to run the speakers in the box up here. And then inside this cabinet, there's actual speakers that mount to the sides. So you'll have one up here, there, down here, down there. And what that does is it mimics the ball. When it goes around the table, the sound actually, you can hear the ball rolling up and down the table. So we have a bunch of these little speakers that'll get glued onto the cabinet. There'll be a set of subs that are going to go with those. And then we have, for the back box, which is what they call that bit there, a set of speakers for either side. I'll be running some 5.5s on there, and I'll have a separate sub for that thing. And then I'm going to a bigger display, but not like the modern cabinets. So this is a 14 inch. I think 15 is like what the newer stuff uses. What else is there? We just got some cable management. I got a few things. Like somebody had an article where they actually use doorbell chimes to build like a chime unit for the pinball machine, and that's what I've done on here, and it works really well. So I have like a 2 sets of chimes in here, and then I have 2 bells, and then we have a knocker up on top. So on top of that, some fellers that aren't very good, like me, not very good at wood, but I managed to cut this out and make this work. So what I do is I have a 3/4 inch, I think it was maple I got it because it's very smooth, and that's what a lot of people recommended. I'm going to be using that for the main cabinet. I think I just did birch for the bat box. It'll be some more 3/4 inch. Because mine is a wide body, you can't fit, there's a website, and I'll link it below, that actually has the schematics or the drawings to cut out a cabinet like this. So, and you can fit this and pretty much the whole back box on a single sheet if you were doing it with a 42 inch or 43 inch TV, which is what I have in here. Again, I'm using a 48 inch because it's called an OLE. Like the colors are better because I want to lay it down. Thing I've learned, thing that I like anyways, I set the screen down, and I feel what I want to do this round is have it pretty close to the top of the glass and have it lay more flat, maybe to this angle or even a little more, depending how I set it up. I'm going to make it up as I go, but yeah. So anyways, in something like this one's got all the bells and whistles up on top. So when it goes through, you'll actually be able to hear. I actually have a volume control on here, and I can turn the volume right down, so there's no sounds coming from the speakers there. You'll still have the speakers in the machine, but the chimes will be up there. And when it goes through, you'll kind of get a vibe of. So here you can hear the solenoid. And then here you got a plunger, and then even on here you can nudge the table. I'll see if I can catch the ball and show you that. Boop. All right, see, I got the ball sitting there. But if I bump the table, you can actually kind of try to save your ball. That was your shaker motor in there. So, anyways, I've realized I played the doors, like the beans out of that thing. We've actually almost like wore out switches on the buttons. So, yeah, I feel I want to just build something more, I don't know, something nicer. I feel nicer. This one's actually great. I have no complaints with it. It was actually fun to build, and I basically wanted to do another one, but using more real pinball parts. That's why we got the legs, we got a proper lockdown bar, we got an actual coin door. So on my unit, I just used like an electrical box, but this will add coins. You know, I have a buy-in, this starts. This one is like, if you want to see the rules to the game, it'll pop up there. That's kind of stuff that happens there. And then like even this thing has a whole built-in menu system, like the whole front end on here. If you, whoops. It has this whole front end, like it's called pin-up popper. So this is how you can go through all the different tables and stuff that are on there. So I don't know. It's a lot of rambling, but I basically wanted to run you through, see what the parts are. You probably don't even need a lot of this. I couldn't find access to a cheap or a broken table at the time when I built this one. I really wanted to, couldn't. So then I just bought the parts. So the wood was not too cheap. Like I used some cheaper wood when I did this one, like some OSB or I don't know, some weird particle board for the bottom. This one I went with 1/2 inch. I think it's, what is it? I don't even remember what I used. Like it may be birch or something for the bottom, which is 1/2 inch, and then 3/4 inch for the back box. And then the machine I went for the actual table, I went with maple just because the speakers actually glue into there and it actually resonates off the wood. So I felt I would just go with a nice harder wood, and it has a smoother finish because this one's not very smooth. Like I'd probably have to like Bondo it or something, put stickers on it. So this one I'd like to actually make a decal or get a nice decal around it because it's gonna look more the part. We even have like the proper side rails and stuff for it. So whereas I made these, which they're totally fine, but this is the style that we got for it. So yeah, that is what is happening. So on that note, I basically wanted to show you everything. Now we're gonna kind of clean stuff up. Like I say, a few of these buttons I'm gonna change out. These, like I say, the buttons are all there. They all light up. They do what they're supposed to do. I wanted to do like a more modern pinball table. They have some tables you use the plunger, and other ones you actually push a button to launch the ball. So I got one of the big light up launch ones, and then I have a proper one that says start instead of me putting notes on it. I mean, I know what they are, but my buddies don't really know what the stuff is. Anyways, I'm gonna move all this stuff, and the first thing we're gonna do is basically, my goal here is to just build the bottom part of this cabinet and just have it there with the legs on it and just standing so we can start filling the inside guts up with stuff. The big focus though is I'm gonna make sure it fits my screen the way I want to do. This one, there was a lot of dead space right here. So inside there's a piece of wood that goes down. This is kind of common to a lot of the tables, but because I want to bring the screen up, I should be able to hide my buttons underneath and just make it look a little more. The only thing with the smaller screens is the aspect ratio is not quite the same as an old table. Depends if you really want to nerd out about it. So it's like you can shrink it in, but you get these weird black spots, like it'll squish the table in. So I don't know. Depends how nerdy you are about it, but for the most part, the thing feels like a real pinball machine, so much so that I just ended up selling my real one, and because none of us was playing it anymore, and that's the only thing we were playing. So anywho, it's just a little sample. We'll get into more detail once we start doing it. I've never used that kit before, so we're gonna see how that all goes. I know he has some awesome instructions and stuff on his site, but for the most part, everything's pretty much set up to plug and play. It comes with all the wires, everything, so it's kind of like, you know, this is going to jump from here over into this board with the power supply and yada yada yada, and then these are going to, like, say, go throughout the table. I have something like this, but they're just car solenoids, so these should be more like real, sound more pinball like in my eyes. Anyways, yeah. Okay, on that note, I'm gonna clean up and we're gonna start measuring this thing all out, folks. So, whatever the link is that I had on the site, we're gonna use their plans to do the table. Well, the sides are kind of the same on them all, but I kind of have to use some different measurements because I'm doing that wide body. So it's a couple inches wider, so I gotta factor this all in. Anywho, we're gonna do, what are we gonna do? We are going to, well, basically I'm going to do the measurements just for the sides of the cabinet. We're going to do that one first, and then I'll figure out the front parts. I'm going to try doing the fronts. I don't know how to do proper miters or nothing. I'm a terrible carpenter. I can just barely figure things out, but the front and the back, I'm gonna try to do them at 45s because then at least, like, I'll still screw it together. That way I only gotta glue little holes up, I guess. I gotta just glue little holes then, but at least I won't show, like on this table where the wood edges are all showing. So yeah, this should work out, hopefully. The bottom, I'm gonna get a router or something and I'll try to router that out so I can lock in the 1/2 inch inside it so it doesn't poke out on the bottom like this one as well. I'm just really trying to make a legit looking table. That's my thing. So I do have a couple complications because my screen that I'm using are pretty big. So it's barely gonna fit in here. Like it actually won't fit. I'll have to actually miter out the sides just so the screen can sit where I want. But for now, I'm not gonna concern myself too much with it. I kind of know what I want to do, so we'll just cut it out and I'll worry about fitting the screen in after. I guess the worst case, I screw up, I got to make 2 new sides, but it shouldn't be that big of a deal. Anyhow, I'm gonna quickly do this, so we're gonna just jam through this portion. So essentially I got to do, it's got to be like 51.5 long, 23.5 high. There's a 7 1/8 flat spot for the little cabinet. And then we got a 15 3/4 down on the bottom. So we're going to do 2 of those. And the front and the back parts are going to be at a 45 because I don't know how to miter anything. So, okay, let's give her here. Let's find my tape measure. Yeah, golly. Measure twice, cut once. Golly, I almost screwed this up pretty bad. Well, kind of got this started. We're a little off on this measurement, and somehow with me putting this together, it is a hair bit too wide. I sanded it a bit. This like doesn't really want to fit. I'm kind of okay with it if I can make it work. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I've already drilled and done everything, so I don't know what I did wrong. I think it's something with these miters because they don't fit very good. They're okay, but they're not perfect by far. I think it's that side I goofed a bit. I wonder if the back is different, or did I equally screw everything up? Nope, I equally screwed it all up, so, well, at least I'm consistent. Anyways, I'm gonna actually try to put that Cleveland thing together. I want to make sure I have all the bits. Part of me is like, over time, I bought their big kit, but I didn't buy everything, and part of me wants to add like a lot more toys than originally I thought. And by toys, they mean bells, whistles, bells, whistles, chimes. This one had a bigger breakout, bigger setup than that one, and originally I wasn't going to do any of it, and I've added a whole lot of stuff. So I want to see basically what I got. We're going to string it out. We're going to basically map it as though we were putting it into the cabinet, and we'll just get a vibe for everything, because I know I'm struggling at explaining everything. I don't know. I'm kind of bad at that. I'm a dude who just kind of shows you how to do stuff, or I learn by watching, and that's I'm terrible at explaining. If you can watch and learn something, then I'm the perfect guy for you. Anyways, let me set this stuff up here quick. See if I can make sense of all of this. Kind of setting it up the way it'll be in the cabinet. Well, this might look complicated. Not too bad. I basically went to his website, which is like Cleveland software. I'll kind of do a link somewhere. Anyways, this is like their a big builder package. And I should have got a few more of his accessories. I think I'm going to reach out and do that just so whatever I'm doing is relevant to somebody else. Anyways, this is, it's spendy for what it is. He has different options and stuff if you don't want to do the solenoids and all that kind of things. Like you could just get a USB. There's an option for a USB, not for this, but when I first built this cabinet, I had all this stuff, but I had it working without any stuff like this. I actually legitimately just had, I'll kind of do a little picture linky thing here. I just bought like a USB, a simple thing that plugged in the USB, treated it like a joystick, and then I had all my buttons. So I just did that, and then I think I just had the sound cards in there, which kind of does the business, and then it just worked. So it was like pretty minimal price-wise, kind of got it going. This is pretty spendy, honestly, but it's pretty complete. So as you can see, it took a little bit. I was fumbling around. I ended up just pulling up his website, and he's just got pictures breaking this down, how it all goes. But compared to my cabinet, which I just made and yada, 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 like I didn't have this as nice a setup as this. So anyways, what we have here, these are going to be in the cabinet. So I'll probably switch these around, but they're going to sit midway into the cabinet, and they're going to be like, your knockers whenever you have the little whatever you call it, little mushroom tops when they go bouncing. This is going to do all that business. This is your power supply, and this is like basically your brains of the board here. So this is here. This will plug into your computer. From there, it has like nice cables that come down, and then this is going to sit at the front of the cabinet here, like up here somewhere. And then it has these small mini breakout boards, and these will be like your buttons on the side. Like I have them there. These all light up, so you can probably change the colors and stuff. Don't know for sure. And then these will be the buttons that are like the start, you know, exit the game, all that jazz, coin. So that's all right here. That's cool. Then from here it plugs in, and then we got our plunger like we would normally do. This thing is like whatever. You got your buttons that'll be similar to this. So you'll have like what they call, I don't know, if a game calls for it and you have to shoot a ball out or something, that's that one. If you're familiar with pinball, a lot of this will make sense. If you're not, this is probably very confusing. And to go from here, this is a little breakout board which then runs out our lights up here, our LED. Then we plug in, we got our like what's called a shaker motor, so this will like kind of vibrate your cabinet. Then these plug in. These are going to mimic when I push the button with the flippers and all that stuff. So that's what this stuff is. And then basically from there we go over here, and this is our knocker. I bought one. I was like piecing this together, going to go with the other company who doesn't exist anymore. But anyways, his comes with a knocker that you probably just, you kind of line up somewhere and let it smack your cabinet. But overall, everything's good here. The only thing I want to get is, he had another breakout board that would attach to this, and then I can attach more what they call toys. This would be a toy. I think there's like provision one more spot right here, so I could run what's like a wiper motor, which'll mimic something on the table that's like circling, or you know, like an arm that shoots a ball or does something. That would mimic it. I'd like to have the option to do all my bells and whistles without having to do all kinds of goofy stuff. So I'm going to reach out to Philip and see if he can hook me up with everything I need. But overall, I wanted to place this all out and just see what I got and how it all works. Everything's pretty self-explanatory. It plugs in. I was a little confused going through it, but like I say, I just went to his website and it actually has everything. I'll kind of show you here. So it's going to be on my phone, which is going to be hard to read, but I'll show it on my computer when the day comes. But anyways, like there's, oh man, hopefully it focuses. Anyways, it goes through there, and he actually goes down, and it actually has very detailed where to connect, how to do everything. I'm pretty happy. It took me I tried to fumble and figure it out, and then I just ended up going by it step by step, and it only took a couple minutes to get everything all wired up. So, anywho, I'm pretty happy so far. I didn't get as far as I want. I got to get my router, and that way I can kind of get this thing chopped up and get my bottom board in. And then, you know, I'm not sure what I'm doing at that point. I think then I'm going to try to get a lot of this stuff placed where I want. We'll have to drill the holes where I like my buttons. If you look at the flat pack, the designs, they'll do them side by side. I didn't like that. I found I would bump the button, or it was like kind of awkward, so I just changed it. There's not really a lot of things that use the second button. Most people have it just set up to do just options like change the lighting on the table, things like that. So I hate to accidentally bump it, so that's why I kind of changed the orientation. The button's a little bit lower than it is. But yeah, it's gonna be a slow project. I have a table, so I play it. This one I'm just trying to make pretty fancy and nice, so you know, I have to work getting that TV screen to fit in there and things like that. And I'm gonna, like I say, probably order a few more things from Cleveland, just because I wanna, just for the simplicity. It's just the way to go. Anyways, I know this is long run out, kind of scatterbrained. Hopefully I can get some feedback on here. If you guys thought it was helpful at this point, I don't know. I kind of trying to explain my thoughts, but it doesn't come out very well. I've learned I'm much better if you're peeking over my shoulder and just watching me do something, and possibly explaining it while I do it sometimes works. But anyways, like I say, it's a pretty long video. I think that is where I'm going to leave this one. Like I say, I'll probably break this down maybe into smaller videos and try to do some smaller tasks. If that works better for folks. I know some folks are following along and they want to actually do this. So like I say, I'll leave the links to at least Philip's stuff right now, which is that Cleveland software. You know, not sponsored or anything, but he's like was a great help as far as texting back and forth or through messaging and email and stuff like that. So my machine, I use Zeb boards, but it sounds like that guy is like, he was Canadian, but he's like shut down. So he's like the only real option for everything. Yeah, so trying to end this here. As always, folks, I want to thank you all for watching, and we will catch you on the next one. Later.